Northwest Liberty News, picking the lock on the shackles of tyranny.
Machines are going to fail, and the system's going to fail.
The past is past, the future's now.
Don't look at me. I think these people are completely nuts.
Sometimes trouble just follows a man.
There is another organism on this planet that follows the same pattern. Do you know what it is? A virus.
Can't you stop your lips from flapping for 2 little minutes?
It's because I'm white.
I'm a man. I'm sensitive. I need to feel loved. I need to be desired.
I'm rapidly becoming a big underground success in.
It's a question of methods. Everybody wants results, but nobody wants to do what they have to do to get them done.
And now, coming to you live from Kalispell, Montana, brought to you by Northwest Liberty News, it's Montana Gazette Radio with your host, James White. Okay, James White, the audio is having a hard catching up there. Sorry about that on the intro. Thanks so much for joining me here today on the second day of February 2021. I'm your host, James. If everything's working properly, we should be coming to you from multiple YouTube channels, Facebook channels, Twitch, I should say, D-Live, Periscope, and others. And thanks again so much for joining us here. We're going to have Jenny Dodd on the program with us here just in a minute. And afterwards, we're going to go over some of the articles on Montana Daily Gazette. So we have an example today of Jenny, who's a returning guest. She's been on the show here. She's been on the show before last year. We're going to have her on again in just a minute. She was on last year, and we're going to have her on to talk about. I think she has a hearing tomorrow. So let me actually bring her on here, real quick. Hey, Jenny, are you there?
I'm there. I'm here.
Hey, Jenny, how are you? Thanks so much for coming on the broadcast with us.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Just fine. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
Great.
You sound great.
Let me give you a quick introduction. Joining me on the stated is returning guest Jenny Dodd. She's a writer, musician, government watchdog, and constitutional capital C. She's worked on opposing the National Heritage since 2019. And you can find more info on her on the Facebook page, Big Sky Boondoggle. Jenny Dodd, again, thanks so much for being here once again on the program.
Sure. Great to hear from you.
Yeah, great to hear from you. I saw your message there that you sent over via the email, and I realized that what you've done is you've set up for tomorrow, I believe, where you're going to outline some of the taxpayer money that was spent by the county on private businesses, I believe, if I remember correctly. So I know that you want to get people, involved and out there, looking into this, of course, with you. So we wanted to have you on to sort of rally the folks. But can you give us a background first before we talk about the meeting tomorrow?
Sure, and the meeting tomorrow is actually involves the city,
okay, the city.
Not the county.
Very good. Thank you.
But they were both involved. On August 25th, I sent a complaint to the Cascade County attorney, Josh Rackey, and I complained about both the county's involvement and the city's involvement with Big Sky Country National Heritage Area Incorporated. I found through research that both the county and the city were doing work on their behalf. More so, it appears the city than the county. But anyway, there was that going on. I complained about it. The county complaint went. Josh Rackey felt that they could not take that on because it would be a conflict of interest because he's a county attorney. So they sent that on to Tim Fox, who sent it back saying that it's a local matter and it's the county attorney's responsibility. So that part didn't go anywhere, and now Jane Weber is retired, and she appeared to be the one directing the use of county facilities. So the city one was sent to City Attorney Sarah Sexy, and she got in touch with me, and I requested a hearing with the Ethics Committee of the City of Great Falls, because that's the first step. The county attorney can take that on after you go through the Ethics Committee, but not before. So that's what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm presenting my case to the Ethics Committee, City of Great Falls, regarding the city's use of city facilities, city employees to benefit what is a private nonprofit group, Big Sky Country National Heritage Area Incorporated. Now, I found through research that they completed a bunch of mapping for the organization. The city did. There was free meeting rooms provided, and according to the Montana Code Annotated, the way I read it, and according to the Code of Great Falls, the way I read that, it appears that that's not ethical. So that's what's happening. Tomorrow at 3 at the City Commission chambers in the Civic Center in Great Falls.
Great Falls, the Civic Center. What is it again? The City Commission. Is it what was that? Can you repeat that one more time for us?
Chambers. The City Commission chambers.
Okay, City Commission chambers tomorrow at the Civic Center in Great Falls at 3 p.m. And this is an open meeting for all the folks to attend, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay.
Although, of course, they have the COVID restrictions as far as distancing and masks. So.
Right. Of course they do.
Yeah.
Right on. So it's not going to be a Zoom meeting, at least. At least it's going to be an in-person meeting. Is that what they're going to actually hold an in-person meeting?
Well, yeah. They've been holding in-person meetings, so that's good. But they normally would also allow comments by phone, and they also would broadcast these meetings. But apparently, they're not going to be doing that with this one, which is a disappointment. But you can still email comments too. If people go to the link on Facebook that you mentioned, Big Sky Boondoggle, the page, there's information there, and there's also a link to email the comments, but that has to be done before 10 and tomorrow morning.
Okay, what do you hope to accomplish by this? You want just to get this private nonprofit corporation to just pay back to the city taxpayers, or pay back to taxpayers the money, the
well, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be. That certainly would be.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, I don't know if that'll happen, but that should happen, in my opinion. But at least we're, I intend on raising awareness that city resources, government resources, should not be used to benefit private organizations.
I think that's a fair argument to make. I don't think that any reasonable person would find fault in that, because really, government's not really designed to give special privileges and rights to any certain groups, right? The government's supposed to be the same for everybody,
right?
Right. Even if a conservative is elected, or a liberal is elected, they still are, their constituents are still, even though they're not the same party, they still have to serve them. I mean, this is you just can't serve who you like.
Right.
That's things break down. We see that happening, though. We see that happen. So the step is to go to the ethics board, or the ethics board, I'm assuming. And when will you have a decision on that? How long do they make a ruling right away on that? Is it a process that they take for review, or how do you know?
Well, this is a fairly new process, and so I'm not really sure what will happen. I believe they'll probably take it under advisement and probably take a few days. I don't think it will be an immediate decision.
Okay, and once again, let's give out information out one more time. If the folks there in Great Falls want to go, it's going to be at the Commission Chambers at the Civic Center there in Great Falls at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, and any further information they can find out by going to Big Sky Boondoggle on Facebook, or is there a companion website?
No, I just have the Facebook site, but it's up to date, and there's a lot of information on there.
Okay.
So.
Okay, great, folks. Well, if you're there, you want to, this is how things happen: is people come together and they make their voices heard, and this is an opportunity that tomorrow in Great Falls. So take the opportunity tomorrow at 3 p.m. if you're able to go to the Civic Center and the Commission Chambers and sit in on this meeting and let people know how you feel about your tax dollars being dished out to nonprofit and private organizations. Jenny, thanks so much for joining us here on the program. We appreciate you coming on such short notice.
Thanks, Jim.
You're
Great to hear from you again.
Thanks.
Take care.
You too. Bye now.
Bye.
Okay, there goes Jenny Dodd. We appreciate her coming on the show. Again, if you, this is a case where she's uncovered government funds being, and time and employees and labor being utilized for private and non-profit corporate business there in her area, and again, who makes that decision? What businesses get the privileges? That seems sort of arbitrary. I mean, is the brother-in-law of the guy that's running things, or it's just go out there tomorrow if you're in Great Falls and you catch this show. Go out there to Great Falls tomorrow if you can at 3 p.m. and give Jenny some support, and that's one of the things that makes changes amongst these folks is realizing that people are coming together. They don't like that. That's not a thing that they like. They don't like that. And again, we've seen this here recently with the trading thing on the stock market, where they've, average folks came together and caused a lot of heartache to these scoundrel short sellers, these hedge fund guys for a period of time. But that's what it takes, folks. It takes for everybody to come together and realize that the guy have the Biden sign or the Trump sign is not your enemy. Anyway, we talked about that, I think, yesterday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick commercial break. When I come back on the other side, we're going to head over to Montana Daily Gazette and hit some of the articles over there. I didn't have it loaded here, so it's going to take me a second to load it, but it won't take me just a quick second. But I appreciate you hitting the like button and sharing the video around, and you can find out what's going on this side of town if you check out northwestlibertynews.com. That's northwestlibertynews.com, or montanadailygazette.com. If you want to find the up-to-date, cutting-edge, truthful news, well, both places, but montanadailygazette.com certainly puts out a lot more articles for sure, and get great staff of writers over there, so we appreciate them. Going to go a quick commercial break. I'll be back just on the other side here. I'm your host, James White, and this is Montana Gazette Radio. If you like classic cars, exceptional service, and a money-back guarantee, then the Corner Shop in beautiful downtown Kalispell is the place for you. Whether it's an oil change, engine diagnostic, suspension work, or brakes all around, the Corner Shop has you covered. With expert technicians and a free consultation on all services, you can't go wrong with the Corner Shop. Did I mention the classic cars? While you're waiting for your expert service to be performed, take a stroll through the showroom to see Kalispell's smoothest collection of classic cars. The Corner Shop is conveniently located at 1212 South Main, just south of the courthouse. The Corner Shop is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. So drop by for an appointment or call 755-7777. That's 755-7777. The Corner Shop, Kalispell's full-service auto repair facility. Okay, I forgot that I didn't load that second commercial in there. I meant to do that before the show, but I did not. So thanks for joining me back here on the broadcast. I'm your host, James White, and this is Montana Gazette Radio. And I have to make myself a note to do that because that's the second day in a row. I forgot all about that second commercial. But we appreciate your time here. Appreciate you looking in. It's the second day of February 2021 on a rainy morning here in Kalispell, Montana. And February 2nd, 43 degrees, I think, yesterday. Not usual, that's for sure. Not usual for Kalispell or for Montana generally. I guess they're getting hammered with the snowstorm over there and out east. But we've been relatively unscathed here so far in this part of Montana anyway. I believe it was last year or the year before. It was last year, I think they maybe set a record. Montana set some, what was it? Where was it at in Montana? I think they set a snow record, some sort of national record or all-time record snowfall there. That's what could happen. That's what could happen in Montana in the blink of an eye. Is in Rocky Mountain weather here, you can get hammered pretty quickly. All right, what we're going to do here is we're going to bring up the Montana Daily Gazette, and bear with me here for a moment while I bring it up. And let's bring it here. And give me a quick second, and I will have it here in just a moment. There we go. All right. Thanks so much for holding on for that. I meant to load that before the show, but I was on the phone right up before the show, and I didn't get a chance to do these couple of things. Okay, Montana Daily Gazette. Obviously, this is Montana Gazette Radio, broadcasting here in conjunction with MontanaDailyGazette.com. And let's go over a couple of things here, a couple of these stories, a couple of these articles. 3 Sydney residents testify against MDU rate increase, saving public millions of dollars. Jordan Hall, I believe, is one of the people that spoke. Who is this group publishes this web newspaper, Montana Daily Gazette, and this is once again 3 Sydney residents saved the public millions of dollars. And we just talked about with Jody. If you want to make a difference, this is three people saved millions of dollars. How about if a whole group of people showed up at some of these events? Now, I'm not saying that there's going to be any type of a ratio where every 3 people that show up are going to save millions of dollars. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying if you come together and everybody joins together and lets people know that we're not going to take it anymore, we're not happy about things, and we want this changed. We are the government. This is our government. It really is. It is our government, and it's only going to be what we. There's going to be tyrants, and there's going to be people that want to run things, and would be dictators in every environment. You can't really stop that. You just have to be involved. You just have to, pay attention. Really, is what we have failed to do. A lot of us have failed to do for a long time, and I think if we paid better attention to some of these crooks, there wouldn't be such crime. But that's something that we all have to come to terms with at our own time. Okay, so let me pop open. I can close this right now. No more zooming. All right, here is some important legislative bills coming up this week. And for some reason, I just think my audio is low. Let me check my audio real quick and make sure it's good. And crank it up just a little bit. We're going to go over some of the legislation that is on the docket for this week. Here is one today, Tuesday, February 2nd. HB 258, prohibit enforcement of any federal ban on or regulation of firearm, magazines, ammo, accessories. What this does essentially is keeps the feds out of Montana. Ask the House Judiciary Committee for a yes vote by 8 a.m. A little bit late for that, but I suppose that this passed probably. If any of the this particular legislative session has been very very favorable to gun laws at this point. HB 257, again, this is a little bit late for this one, but we'll read it anyway. Revised laws relating to government mandates, health board orders, city and county ordinances as they affect private businesses. This is important legislation in light of what happened to businesses over the past year. Ask the House Judiciary Committee for a yes vote by 8 a.m. And these are some that you can actually impact because they are coming up here tomorrow. And again, we just want to give a shout out here to Edna Kent over at Montanans for Unlimited Government. She does great work over there. Matter of fact, I had to have Ed on the show. I believe I've interviewed her before. I do believe I have, but we'll have her back on the show. HB 261, limitation on state revenue through taxation, will appear on the November 2022 ballot as a constitutional amendment. This provides reasonable protection from excessive taxation. Ask House Judiciary Committee for a yes vote by 8 a.m. And you can catch the links here to send the messages if you go to Montana Daily Gazette. Here, let me take the link and copy it and put it in the chat room. Put this in here, and you can go there if you're in Montana. If you're in Montana, you can go there. Hey, Slim. You can go there and send a message. Clicking on the links after these bills. Okay, what was that? Okay, here's the next one. SB 158. It will allow legislators to carry concealed carry on state property. This supports Second Amendment rights. Ask the Senate Judiciary Committee for a yes vote by 9 a.m. This is still tomorrow. Still make an impact on this and make a difference with this. Please note that Montanans for Limited Government, can't speak. Please note, Montanans for Limited Government confers with Montana Sportsmen for Fish and Wildlife on pertinent legislation. And there's the address they can be contacted at. And I also want to say that the Gary Marbit's group over there, Montana Sports Shooting Association, really does a great job. Gary's always really putting forth great legislation, and he certainly needs to be commended on all the work that he's done, really protecting and furthering the idea of our Second Amendment rights here in Montana, and we certainly appreciate Gary's work. Interviewed Gary several times, and he's a good guy. He's a good guy, does great work. Okay, and here is legislators to carry concealed on state property. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Our recommendations on these bills are as follows. And we say our recommendations. This is for Montana Daily Gazette. HB 225, establish wolf trapping season dates. Ask for a yes vote from House Committee. Okay, I don't know this an acronym. I should know that. Fish, wildlife, and interesting. I'll have to find out what that means. Committee ASAP as bill is waiting. Committee vote. HB 224, allowing for the snaring of wolves by licensed trapper. Comment to the House Committee, February 2nd, 3 p.m. Please ask HG5, and this is very important legislation. Please read HJ5 and ask the House Taxation Committee for a yes vote. This declares federal taxation of privately held guns unconstitutional and unenforceable, and further directs Montana's congressional delegation to vote unanimously against federal legislation or any other legislation that may in any way infringe on the constitutional right to bear arms. Keep reminding legislators that they should ask themselves these questions about every piece of legislation. Is the legislation constitutional? Does the legislation infringe on individual rights? Is the legislation truly necessary? Who will bear the financial and or societal burden of the legislation? And there is the important bills that are up this week. And again, if you want to get involved, you just contact the legislators right there on that link and let them know how you feel about that. That's really a great thing here. One of the great things about Montana is that a couple of things with the gun laws that have been passed, and certainly the privacy laws here are some of the best. And we really don't want the feds here, in our business. Really don't. I mean, we can operate just fine without the overlords being involved. I published a couple of articles here on lately about the federal corruption going on here in Montana. It's off the charts. I see this on a regular basis. What goes on in D.C. and now you can see what goes on here in Montana and other places. The feds haven't really done a whole lot of good, except take people's wealth and distribute it to those that don't really deserve it, frankly. But there's a whole nother show regarding about that. Let me go back here to the website here and pull up another story. So just as a follow up, I had Martin Lynch on the phone here on the show here a couple of days ago. He has written specifically a specific bill that can be introduced to the legislature that would put the regulation of the social media companies here in Montana under the care and the watchful eye of the Public Service Commission. And the way that it's written, and I have a copy of it that was sent to me, they would have to return your rights and relinquish the shadow banning, and give you the Section 230 states that you can't get punitive damages against the big tech companies. You can't sue them, quote unquote, for damages. But if there's a ruling that they need to turn your account back on and they don't do that, fines can be levied against them. That's perfectly legal and lawful. So, again, what we need to do is we need to bring this control back in the hands of the state where it belongs, because the state is, the legislators in the state are certainly much closer to the folks. So I'm going to be reaching out to Commissioner Pinocci later on today and ask him about his views on that proposed legislation from Martin Lynch. And again, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, you can look at the show that we did last week with Martin Lynch on there about taking down big tech with due process. They want to operate in a particular state, then they're going to have to operate properly. They're a business like anything else, right? So, it's just, sadly, tyranny gets a foothold, and the people that are battling it, it takes them a long time to mobilize and come together to fight it. Now, if you remember from the interview I did with Martin, once the injunctions are filed, I think it's like 78% of the cases dropped. So they don't really even want to battle it. They just want to cause people whose opinions and views are not in line with their establishment views. They just want to cause them problems. They just want to give them a hard time, and they want to give them heartache and interrupt the flow of things for them. This is how they roll, and they're going to, I don't know if they're going to ever stop doing that, but hopefully, if we can get this legislation going and get it passed, then we can, at least have some sort of deterrent in the state of Montana, and we can really be laying the groundwork for the rest of the nation. Because what's written in one of the things in the provision, in the bill, I should say, is that even people that are out of state can get a post office box in Montana, if they and then wait 60 days, and they have the ability to be able to go after big tech in Montana. So it's really written very pro, consumer and pro liberty, which is, it'd be nice to see things switch back the other way. because it certainly has been. It has been, tyranny has been winning for quite some time. I mean, I just went to Parler. I haven't been to Parler in a long time. I think used to go to Parler and it would bring up, at least I had like a splash page with some people had commented. I think there's 8 or 10 comments on there. Now it's gone again. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on, but they just took that platform right down and silenced the voices of millions and millions of people, just like that, with 24-hour notice. So what happens is that, what I think needs to happen is conservative groups need to get together. These conservative, organizations that have the kind of capital necessary to start launching conservative, pretty much everything. Folks are going to try to cancel conservatives out of everything. People are getting fired from jobs, they're being canceled on their insurance. They're being asked not to attend things. They're being removed from committees, or all because they vote for a certain person and they have a certain political view. So the only way to combat that, and sadly, that people that hold that left-leaning view own a lot of the major everything. All the big business stuff, all the mobile stuff, all the computer stuff that you would use, the TV manufacturers, and maybe not every single one of them, but certainly the majority of the stuff that we use on a regular basis, the people that run those companies are not conservatives. They don't have conservative views. It is what it is. I don't know if conservatives expected the kind of snapback or kind of treatment that that we get from the other side based upon our political views. But that's the time that we're living in, and it's interesting that these people don't think about how it would be if the guns were turned back around on them, and they were the ones getting getting canceled on everything, and they're the ones losing their careers and getting their lives ruined, and why I guess it's sad. It's a sad commentary that we actually live in a time where no one even considers that stuff. They really don't care about you and your long-term consequences or heartache or what you might go through. Just no one. It's just like it's an uncaring world and society that we're living in, seemingly, on multiple fronts. However, certain things are happening that I think are bringing even those that are on the opposite side of if you will, together. And these events have been happening recently, and they're going to continue to happen, I believe. And that's going to be, in my view, the last part of waking people up, is kind of highlighting the fact that the establishment, the deeply rooted establishment is the true enemy of the folks. And I think that's the last hurdles that we have to get over here is people breaking that spell, to break that spell that they're under. I make a quick note here before I end the show. I was at the gym this morning on the treadmill walking, and they have these TVs and everything up in front there. And I cannot believe, I don't really watch that stuff. I mean, it's there right in front of me. But I cannot tell you how many commercials came on that people in the commercials were wearing masks, to do their everyday activity, working out, running. And it's like, it's you see the psychology behind it. You can see how they are just, they just manipulate reality. And it's just, it's so criminal what these people do with their and the technology that they have, and they know. I mean, just look at the work of Edward Bernays, the father of modern propaganda. Wrote the book called Propaganda. Read the work of Edward Bernays and realize they've been able to figure out how to manipulate the mass. They've figured out how to manipulate the masses for a long time now. A long time. They have known how to do it. And they've gotten very good at it. All the way down to the flicker rates on the television. The optimum flicker rates that opens up, that bypasses your critical thinking and gets right into your subconscious, so you act on whatever they want you to act on. The mind's a powerful thing. It's a very powerful thing. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but it's true. And, you know, in many ways, the establishment has control of it right now for many people. And that's one of the things that we have to do, is we have to break this mind control. Break free of this cognitive dissonance. You know, just come to a place where you realize that you don't need other adults to tell you how to live your life. You made it to an adult. You made it to be an adult somehow, right? I mean, trust that you know how to handle things. Don't have to rely on what, you know, a government agent says, or a CDC or Fauci, or, you know, I mean, use your common sense. If these things were as bad as they say, there would be people dropping dead in the street. I mean, seriously, folks, we've been had. I can't believe they're going to conceal the real truth for a whole lot longer. Maybe, you know, it's a corrupt world. There's a lot of corrupt people in positions of power. That's for sure. So, you know, it's just turn off. If I can tell you, turn off the television. Just if we all just turned off the television. Everybody in America turned off the television for 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks. I mean, do you have any idea how much improvement overall we would have in society? You would marvel at it. You'd marvel at how much better things would be. Yeah, they are trying to brainwash us, that's for sure. And they've done a good job. And again, I really have to put together a presentation on based mind control. And it's a big subject. It goes back quite a ways in history and time. But that's really basically, in a nutshell, that's really what we've been subject to, is trauma-based mind control for quite some time here. And again, just break the words down. Trauma-based mind control. Which means that if you create enough trauma in someone's life, or they perceived trauma, or if they don't do a certain thing a certain way, they could be a victim of trauma. I mean, depends upon however you want to break it out. It's trauma-based mind control, and that's what the whole thing with the masks and, you know, the COVID and the deaths, and seeing, folks, I'm not sure if you saw some of those videos that they were trying to put on across on mainstream news. Some of those videos were like years ago. People had found the same video from a story they played 2 or 3 years ago. And in a couple of those videos, when they went on the quote-unquote patients, they looked like they were like these rubber crash test dummy type people. I'm not kidding. They zoomed in on the guys working on COVID patients, quote-unquote, working on COVID patients. And they zoom in, and it's like a crash doll. Or not exactly a crash doll, but that latex type body, fake body type thing. You could see it. It was apparent. I mean, you've seen those dozens of times, right? I don't know. Explain that one. I said before, how about all the testing centers that they had to actually get employees to get in line So it looked like there were people in line for testing. That con's about to come out, and that's going to be, you want to talk about not being able to walk down the street. You see how some of these legislators already, these politicians they go back to meet their constituents and they're shouted down and they're, brought to task and they get in their face. And, what if you found out that they were behind, some of these people were behind the actual COVID-19 thing and they knew about it? What if like, for example, it's reported, I haven't seen the guys, but I imagine it's probably public because she's a public figure. But it's been reported that Pelosi's husband went out and bought, I don't know how many shares of Tesla before Biden made the statement that they were going to make electric cars the standard cars in all the government, and the stock shot up. This is par for the course for these folks. This is par for the course. You mean nothing. They hate you. They hate you. They hate me. They hate everybody. They do. They hate us all. And we should not hate them back, though. It's not the right way to approach things. Be the light. They're dark. They're dark. The way to combat them is to be the light that they lack. Right? Think about it. If you walk into a room and if you walk into a pitch dark room and you turn the light on, what happens? The darkness flees. The darkness flees the light. They know this. This is a universal law. They know this. That's why they don't want our light shining. That's why they want our face covered with a mask. That's why they want us injected with God knows what inside these vials. They want to extinguish our light in that context. Because our light, if we all come together, will snuff out their darkness. And they're dark. They're dark, make no mistake about it. Some of the things they do, I hope and pray some of you never really find out. I really do. I really do. I really do. I hope you never find out. But that is how you defeat them, is you are the light, and your light combined with another person's light come together. And this is not some, metaphysical or some crazy. I'm talking about, the light of love and what you have inside and what you have to give. You know what I'm talking about, right? Don't let them extinguish that in you, because when they do, they win. Right? We're in a battle for everything right now. We're in a war. You're a soldier in an army, whether you think you are or not. You are. You are. And you've had to pick a side. At this point, I'm sure you're much past the point of being on the fence. You've had to pick a side. And understand that you are a participant. Whether you like it or not, you are. Because it's your world too, and it's your children's world and your grandchildren's world. We cannot let this evil overcome us. And we don't have to get violent. We don't have to break things. We don't have to get tire irons and baseball bats and none of that stuff. None of that. All we have to do is just say, no, we're not going to participate in your darkness. We're just not going to do it. We just say no. We're going to come together and we're going to not hate, because that's what they want. They want that hate. Why do you think they show all this stuff, people burning buildings down, and, they want that hate. They want the other side to hate. That hate brings anger, and anger brings fear, and that's what they feed on. It's a spiritual battle, folks. It really is. It's a spiritual battle, and it's like it's an energy battle. And when I say that, again, I'm not talking metaphysical kookiness here. I'm talking about just flat out, and we've talked about this before, even in your own life. When you wake up in a rotten mood and you have a rotten outlook, you have a rotten day most of the time. If you wake up in a good mood and have a good and positive outlook, you have a good day, right? That is your choice. It really is. It's your choice to decide which one you want to be, which day you want to have. We can overcome them, right? They're powerful, but they're not more powerful than all of us. But they've divided us. That's why they're winning. That's why when people come together, like the stock market thing, where diverse groups came together from both sides. Now this whole thing with buying silver, diverse groups are coming together from both sides. Right? This is the dagger in their heart. And that's what we have to strive towards. We're not going to have another chance for a long time, if ever, to get so close to defeating these satanic tyrants that are running things. I don't know if we'll ever get this close ever again. I fear that if we fail now, it could be 1,000 years of darkness. I think the dark ages before were bad. I think that's just that's child's play to what's potentially coming. And it doesn't have to be that way. So, my call is here for you to get involved. Even like going tomorrow, if you're in Great Falls, going tomorrow to that meeting. All right, get involved in groups on Facebook. You say, well, I don't like Facebook. Yeah, I don't like Facebook either. But it gets the word out to a lot of people that otherwise wouldn't have had the word. I don't like YouTube particularly either. But it gets the word out to people that otherwise wouldn't have had the word. And there's other platforms. You should diversify and go up to, Rumble and others. But we're not going to have another chance, folks. We're not going to have another chance to defeat tyranny. We're not going to be this close in our lifetimes again. We got them on the ropes. We really do. We really do. I know it doesn't look like it. I know there's some reason for people to say nothing's happening and have some despair. And I understand. I'm in this stuff every day. I understand. But they're on the ropes. They're on the ropes. And the reason is because the systems that they've employed, and it's all systems, the systems they've employed to control us since your birth and my birth are now becoming exposed to everyone. And the latest is the corrupt and crooked financial system. And you know why that one's so key? Because it doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. You have to have some method of transferring finances back and forth to live your life. So it affects everyone. All these people that are employed, when you realize that you're unemployed, I should say, because your company went out of business, because a group of hedge fund managers got together and they drove the stock price down and totally wrecked your company so they could take helicopter rides to work in the morning and get a nice big place on the Hamptons. That's why they did it. That's why they did it. To keep up with the other hedge fund managers who destroyed other people's lives. That's how they profit. That's how they benefit. The misery of others. That's got to quit. That's got to end. And it's coming out now. It's coming out. The medical establishment coming out. Fraud. Right? We already know the education system. Fraud. We see the government, quote-unquote, police force or law enforcement. Fraud. Congress. Fraud. Supreme Court. Fraud. Fraud, 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 fraud. It's all a fraud. It's all a fraud. All of it. All of it. History you've learned, fraud. Banking system, stock market, fraud. So if you think nothing's going on, you tell me how all these frauds that have been operating for decades, generations, over and over and over again, how come they're all coming out now? How come they're all being exposed? Do you think that's just by coincidence? as I said before in this show. How do you think the Epstein, the Weinstein, the Seth Rich now, information has to be out within 3 months? They have to release the Seth Rich information now. Right, the Wiener laptop, Epstein Island, Ghislaine Maxwell, Nexium sex cult, Pizzagate, right, Elefantes, all these drawings by Podesta brothers and everything, right? All this stuff has come out here recently, the last 4 or 5 years, along with the exposure of the financial system, the medical system, Congress, Supreme Court, all that. All this stuff is coming out, all just by some chance over the last 4 or 5 years. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think their days are numbered. Because what is happening is their worst fear is being realized on a regular basis. Get in the fight. You can do something if it's nothing more than be a bad example for everybody else. You can do something. If nothing more than attend a city hall meeting, even if it's on Zoom, just do something. Get active. Because what's going to happen is when all these scoundrels are rooted out, and I really believe they're going to, and all of this tyrannical framework that's been resting upon all of our lives since we've existed, when all that gets dismantled, we're going to have a big job ahead of us repairing this existence. And it's going to be in all countries. And people are going to have to heal, and people are going to have to, have help, come into terms with some things. And that's going to be our task for this foreseeable future, I think. So get geared up, get ready to go. Appreciate you looking in. Please like and share the video. If you want to find out more about what I have going on, you can go to northwestlibertynews.com. That's northwestlibertynews.com, or MontanaDailyGazette.com. Again, appreciate you looking in. Till next time, James White for Montana Gazette Radio, saying bye now.